Sanders in Iowa yesterday. The senator joins us now this morning, smiling.
There's no question in a very anti-establishment year where anger has
Republicans
seemed
ranked
to...
number 2 through 7 scored on stage.
But maybe if somebody's attacking you, it means you must be doing something right.
Regardless of the political bombast and the pundit chatter, when we Americans understand our political and election systems and laws, the politics of fear and big money are marginalized.
A trusted team.
And tonight's focus is Minnesota's open electoral process and leading election system.
A January forum hosted by Hennepin Tech College in Brooklyn Park was in service to that goal.
Is that elections in our state, as opposed to some others, are...
Can anybody tell me how the number of delegates of your precinct is decided?
Think Again Minnesota, a public interest nonprofit, spearheaded the event. The message: when citizens become informed, help select candidates through a political party, and show up at the polls, the vote is powerful. On hand were Brooklyn Park City Clerk Devin Montero, League of Women Voters Officer Kirsten Comey, and DFL activist Hollis Winston and GOP activist Robert Marvin. Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon, political consultant Benjamin Cruz, and House District 60B candidate Mohammed Noor began the workshop.
You have to build a team, a trusted team.
Noor described how candidates for the state legislature win support.
And when you're on the phone, you get yeas and you get nays.
Cruz described Minnesota's unique political party caucus and convention system.
And be one of those election judges, be trained, be professional.
Number one is culture. That's the reason.
Secretary of State Steve Simon identified Minnesota's political culture, election laws, and confidence in its electoral system for high voter turnouts. For general elections, we regularly lead the nation.
We err on the side of participation. And our tradition in Minnesota, across party lines, most of the time, has been to err in that direction. Just like
improvements to the way we do things in Minnesota, however, were pointed out by panelists and participants.
Minnesota has the worst educational system for people of color in the United States.
Howard Hansen.
And there's been a lot of talk about it during the last year, but you have to get the politics out of the classroom. And it's all political.
If you want to change that achievement gap, we have to get our politicians to start compromising on some issues. And I think
challenges remain for Minnesota's minority communities, including naturalized immigrants. Gurma Hassan.
If they don't care about the political system today, what's going to happen tomorrow? Who's going to replace you guys? What kind of program you guys have to engage the minorities and the children's?
You know, we were talking about well, why aren't minorities becoming more involved? Why aren't our youth becoming more involved? And I would humbly argue that that's because they don't feel like there is any possibility for them to make a difference. The partisanship and the unhonesty with a lot of our politicians has caused them to become disenfranchised. They can't.
You know, I think it's safe to say that each of the forum speakers and attendees have been frustrated with our slow and noisy political process.
But you begin the process of selecting candidates for the election. There's also going to be a straw poll.
But they have learned that it also works if you show up and get involved. That's why they showed up.
If there's a question about whether we should err on the side of access or not, we've erred on the side of access, not an exclusion. And that tradition is one I think we ought to uphold.
You know what? Everybody needs to get out and involved with the caucus.
State Senator John Hoffman.
We've got to go and get involved with the caucus. That's a primary mission today, is to get involved. And also the primaries, is to get out and get the vote going. And so I think
Minnesota's precinct caucuses will be held on March 1st. That's about a month later than their traditional convening date. DFL and GOP party chiefs agree that this will provide Minnesotans with a larger voice in selecting presidential candidates. And regardless of the political party you choose, the precinct caucus will put you in touch with like-minded folks from your own neighborhood. Together, you'll be selecting candidates for the state legislature and Congress. Let's again show the nation what democracy looks like.
Websites and phone numbers of the Secretary of State, Minnesota's political parties, the League of Women Voters, and the city clerk of your town can tell you the exact time and location of your precinct caucus on March 1st. Also, check your weekly community newspaper. It's all very neighborly, so let your voice and vote count.
I saw a t-shirt once that summed it up for me. It said, failure to vote is not an act of rebellion, it's an act of surrender. Don't surrender the power that you have. It's very easy from a technical standpoint in Minnesota to vote and to register to vote. In fact, your viewers should know if you go to mnvotes.org, that's mnvotes.org, you can register to vote online, you can order an absentee ballot online, you can find polling place information and candidate information online. It's just mnvotes.org. We have a great Minnesota tradition of high turnout, high interest in elections, and I think we can continue that this year, this presidential year.
Democratic Visions can be seen 24/7 on YouTube. That's Democratic Visions YouTube. Democratic Visions is independently crafted by volunteers, mostly Democrats, from Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Edina, and Bloomington.